came home to find the red light blinking again. I live alone. No one has my landline number. I pressed play. Hiss. It was the sound of my own sigh of relief, the one I'd let out when I locked the door behind me that morning. It was a perfect, private echo. A cold prickle crawled up my neck. The machine shouldn't have been on. It shouldn't have been recording. The next day, there was another message. This time, it was a muffled, terrified scream. I hadn't screamed, but I did have a nightmare the night before, one I couldn't fully remember. The machine wasn't just picking up sounds. It was pulling them out of me. It was recording my sleep. I threw it in the closet, burying it under a stack of old blankets. But I could still hear it. In the dead of night, I would hear the faint, mechanical whir of the tape turning, followed by a soft click. It was recording. Always recording. After a week of sleepless nights, I pulled it out. There were 7 new messages. They were all snippets of my life, but twisted. It replayed a muttered curse word, but with a mocking, cruel inflection. It replayed me humming a song, but the tune was distorted, flat and funereal. It was learning the shape of my voice. The 8th message was different. It took the words it had stolen and stitched them together. The voice was mine, but hollow, devoid of life. It asked a question. Is anybody home? I ripped the plug from the wall, grabbed a hammer, and smashed the cheap plastic casing to pieces. I shattered the cassette, pulling the thin brown ribbon out and tearing it to shreds. I threw the mangled mess into the dumpster behind my building and felt a profound sense of relief. That night, for the first time in weeks, there was silence. I slept. I was woken up by a sound in the darkness of my bedroom. It was a soft, gentle humming. My blood ran cold. It was the same song the machine had distorted, and the voice was mine. It was coming from the corner of the room. I didn't dare move until the sun came up. The next morning, my phone rang. It was my mother. I was so worried, she said, her voice frantic. I've been calling the landline for 2 days straight, but some man kept answering. Mom, that's impossible. I live alone. I know, honey, I know. That's why I was so scared. I thought I was losing my mind when he kept answering in your voice. But it wasn't you. It sounded empty, like an echo repeating something it didn't understand. I hung up the phone, my hand shaking. My landline was on the other side of the room, sitting dead in its cradle. As I stared at it, it began to ring. The caller ID wasn't a number. It was one word. Home. I knew I should run. I knew I should scream. But I had to know. I picked up the receiver. For a moment, there was only a familiar, staticky hiss. Then, the humming started. The same tune from the corner of my room. A voice came through the line. It was my voice, perfect, clear, and calm. It wasn't repeating me this time. It was saying something new. It's so much quieter in here, it said. Now that you're gone. The line went dead, but the words didn't. I tried to scream, but I had no voice. I tried to drop the phone, but I had no hand. The world didn't fade. It was simply elsewhere. Instead, I could only listen from the humming darkness of the line. I heard the soft click as the receiver was placed back into my cradle on my bedside table. I heard the sound of footsteps on the hardwood floor, walking away from the phone, and then the gentle, familiar clink of a coffee mug being set down on the kitchen counter. My life was starting without me, and I was now only a memory trapped in the static hiss of a dead line.